Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another stream. It's the Thursday night stream. We're only a couple of days away from the deadline now. Let me turn the music up a bit. It's very quiet, even though some people will probably appreciate it's so quiet. There we go. That should do it for now. How are we all doing? 2 days to go. People asking me in the chat already about my captaincy. I'm so undecided, kind of undecided. I feel like Werner's actually the bottom of Salah or De Bruyne or Werner for me. As it stands, that could change for obvious reasons. They're playing West Brom. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'll bring my team up. It hasn't changed since the team selection video. When I bought Kevin De Bruyne in for not a hit. I just bought him in because why not? Wildcard at 10. No way on my wildcard in this week. I've tried to put together a wildcard draft. I did a video today. I did see one wildcard draft today I thought was really good, which I'm going to put on tomorrow's video. I won't talk about it now, but I think it was very good. Oh, by the way, here's some positive news to start on. I have scored 129 points so far. That's 64.5 points per game week. And if I got 64.5 points per game week, I wouldn't win FPL necessarily, but I'd get very close. I'd definitely have a top 10k rank if I could get 64.5 every week. I think so anyway. And I'm already 99 points behind the leader. They've not even used a chip yet. I now realise there's still 36 game weeks to go. But how depressing is that? 99 points behind the leader after just 2 game weeks. I mean, if that keeps happening, every 2 game weeks, was what, 18 more? Like 18 lots of 2, if I worked that out right. Yeah, 18. I'm going to be like 1,800 points behind the leader by the end of the season. Absolute nightmare. Sure, they got 146 last week. They got more than my whole score. Absolutely ridiculous. Just posted my team selection for this week. Check it out. I will try and check it out later. Taking hits to bring in Reece James. Not sure about that. It depends who you're taking out. As always with hits, as I spoke about in the preview. Let me bring my team up quickly. But we're mostly going to just do questions. Oh, look at that. I always mess that up. We're mostly just going to do questions tonight because you know my team, right? I've talked about it enough. You don't necessarily see it anymore. I'm playing a 4-3-3. Is it ideal? Possibly not. I could do set max to opponents for a hit, but I've already missed the price rises now, and I would have to take Shaw out. So I'm just hoping if Shaw can get a clean sheet in that opening game, I don't care even about bonus points or goals or assists. If he can just get a clean sheet, 6 points, then straight away I'll know that not taking a hit for opponents was a good move. Yes, he could still outscore 10 points, but I'm just, banking on that not happening. What else has happened since we last did a stream? Some prices in. Semedo, 5.5 million. I think that is a decent price. Maybe. I still think Wolves' defence looks good for the next few fixtures if you want to double up with Sice maybe. And Mendy's in at Chelsea as well. Really want a Chelsea defender now. I'm not sure if he's going to be straight in the first league game, but it's quite possible. He's only 5 million. Would I go for him? Probably not. I just think I would definitely want 3 outfield players for Chelsea at some point. Maybe before a wild card if I really wanted to use a transfer on a goalkeeper. But as it stands, that is not in the plans. Although I'm not completely ruling out, even though I said I definitely would not do it. Definitely not doing it for the next 2 weeks, that's for sure. The other thing as well, before we get into all the questions, Foden, people crack me up right on Twitter, and I appreciate sometimes you generalise that everybody's panicking. It's not literally everyone, but Foden's a rotation risk. Everybody knows that. No one is expecting him to play every single game. People are, I'll just get him anyway. It doesn't matter if he gets rotated, and then bam, he plays in the cup tonight, and everyone's panicking. He's not going to play the next game, even though you know he's going to get rotated. That is, that is it. I'm always streaming. Well, I'm definitely streaming on 720. It's probably still a bit dodgy. It sucks. I don't know if anyone saw my internet update this week, but before I thought I was getting it. Then I found out only 12 houses in the estate are getting it, and then I found out a couple of days ago it's actually more like 30 to 40 of the 80 houses in the estate again. It's nearly half of everyone in my estate is getting fibre. And I'm still stuck on 4G. I can literally walk to a house that's getting fibre in less than 30 seconds. It is so frustrating. And I got told by a salesperson that we're going to get it in 6 to 8 weeks. I don't believe them, but you never know. So yeah, the internet still sucks. I can only apologise for the lag. Hopefully you can still hear me clearly ranting about internet and club biscuits. Is it a crime if I have no Man City players? You're not going to get arrested for that. I don't think so anyway. You'll be the last house on that estate to get 5. You don't even understand the pain, right? I have done so much legwork to get it into the estate, and now I'm not even getting it. The amount of emails and calls I've made, you would not believe. I was like, it's here already. All the stuff's here, you just haven't connected it. And they're like, oh yeah, you're right. Boom, they come along, 12 houses, now 30, not mine. I could rant about it for another hour, but we should probably talk about what's that thing we play? FPL. Yeah, we should probably talk about FPL. Chilwell will play. I mean, he's only got a few minutes under his belt. There's no guarantee he plays the next game, but he should be first choice week in, week out, sooner rather than later for sure. Will Marcel play, or should I get rid of Vinagre? We've not had. One of my mates is saying the stream is fine for him. Koosh, how is it going? Koosh with his feet. Can I show you this? No, it's got his phone number on it. He's got his feet up and he's watching me on the big screen. Needs some tips, even though he was telling me the other day he's so good. Maybe he's not that good. Hi, Koosh. You can hear me moan about internet again. Anyway, what we're doing? FPL. Yeah, that was it. Offer to pay your net. Yeah. Anyway, look, no more internet chat. I've ranted about it. I'll keep you updated. We'll keep you updated about how awful it is. Captaincy, yeah, so my 3 main captaincy targets this week: Salah, De Bruyne, Werner. That's for my team anyway. Like, I don't have Son or Kane. They could be good options as well. I almost feel like Werner's the third choice, even though he's got the best fixture on paper. Playing West Brom is pretty good, right? We just haven't really seen Chelsea click. I know they did well in the Carabao Cup. Obviously, Havertz got his hat-trick. We can probably talk about that a bit later. And if Havertz plays more central in like that number 10 position, Werner could be really good, whether he plays through the middle or on the left. And I'm obviously fully expecting Werner to score at some point, right? And West Brom it could be. But I said before the season started, I really wanted to look at kind of numbers, underlying stats a little bit more. And I keep coming back to Salah, right? You go and look at anyone that's got like an algorithm or that's really into stats or like rate my team on Fantasy Football Scout. Salah is the highest predicted scorer this week. There's a guy called FPL Salah that does like, he gets all the odds for what all the betting companies basically the odds of them scoring a goal. And Werner's up there with 55%, I think. Salah's 54% against Arsenal. They all believe that Salah's going to do well. And I said last year, or I've said for a while, Arsenal's numbers aren't looking great. To be fair, I've seen some pretty good counter arguments about how many clean sheets and only 1 goal conceded that Arteta has actually done or Arsenal have actually done under Arteta. But at home and penalties, I'm thinking of going with Salah. That is currently my captain. De Bruyne was my second choice. He did go up a bit in my estimations once I found out that Ndidi is injured, so he is going to be out. Johnny Evans is back, which will help the defence, but not having Ndidi in there at all in midfield will hurt quite a bit. And how good City were against Wolves, I do worry a little bit about that. But FPL Salah doesn't sound biased at all. He's not, to be fair. He just puts up the odds every single week without question, whether it's Salah at the top or not. I appreciate if you have not followed him, he might sound suspicious, might sound biased because Salah's at the top. But yeah, that's who I'm currently on. And the thing is, right, this season is so weird. Last year, if Salah had Arsenal at home, I would have said no, I'm not captaining him against a top 6 side, and everyone would have said you're an idiot, right? You should go for Salah. Arsenal aren't that good. Now I'm saying, okay, you're right. Arsenal aren't that good, and I don't think they've improved necessarily hugely under Arteta. Maybe in some ways, but not every way. I'm going to captain, and everyone's saying you're an idiot still. And like Man United, I got Man United last year. You're an idiot. This year I don't want them. I'm still an idiot. I feel like I'm just an idiot, right? Why are people underrating Arsenal? There you go. See, everybody FPL Salah confirmation bias. Honestly, it's not. You go and follow him. Honestly, he's nothing. He's not biased at all. He just gets the stats in the same way every single week and posts them. It just so happens that anyone with an algorithm or bases their decisions on stats, they all think Salah is going to do really well this week. Honestly. Arsenal fans or not. Or Liverpool fans or not. So that hasn't really helped, but that is where I'm looking right now. Salah captain, maybe De Bruyne. But I think Werner, for me right now, I mean, maybe there was a really good discussion of FPL Black Box that maybe you should just target the fixture. And obviously with Captaincy, like, I always look at the fixture. And so maybe I should be saying West Brom away is the best one. And maybe that's the best way to choose your captaincy. But I just can't, like, obviously Salah's a midfielder as well. Werner's a forward. So as soon as Salah scores, it's an extra point. Hopefully they can get a clean sheet. That's an extra point for that as well. It all starts to add up very quickly. You know, Salah gets a clean sheet and a goal. He's already on 7 points. Werner's got to get, a goal and an assist as well. Like, to get up to, what is that, 7, 9, just ahead with 2 attacking returns. I don't know. I'm currently on Salah. It could change. I got to be honest. It would have really helped to see Werner do something special, or Chelsea just to click, or Havertz to do well in the league with that. And I know they've not had much of a chance to kind of play together, so he could be good. But I'm probably, like I said, probably going to put him as my third choice captain. They definitely beat Man United. No chance. Come on. Yeah, I don't. I mean, picking your captain based on fixtures is not like a new thing, obviously. This week is, but I guess the difference is this week you're picking almost purely on fixture because Werner hasn't shown anything yet. You know, little glimpses of sparks at times, but you know, no goals basically. So you are purely picking on fixtures, but obviously you always take fixtures into account, right? If Salah was playing Man United away, I wouldn't be thinking about captaining him, that's for sure. So fixtures are always a big part. But obviously form and stuff comes into it too. If all the stats say you should captain Salah, you should definitely captain Aubameyang. Yeah, probably. I mean, Aubameyang's definitely scoring, by the way. I'm not expecting a Liverpool clean sheet this week because we've all just taken out Aubameyang for whoever, De Bruyne or Sterling in most cases. Sevilla have got a penalty. Yeah, I know. This is the problem with doing 8 o'clock streams on a Thursday. Even if I go to 9 o'clock, there's still going to be games on. I don't know what to do about the Thursday stream. Like, it's quite popular, but it's nowhere near as popular as the Sunday stream. Like, the Sunday stream was always banging. The Thursday, it's busy enough now. But yeah, when there's football on, it's a bit more of a pain. Whereas when I stream on Sunday evening, there is no football on. Alfred, how's it going? What's the biggest hit you've taken? Yeah, -16 for me. And I came out with a big green arrow that week as well. It was back in a blank game week. I bought in Josh King, Lukaku. Can't remember the other ones, but yeah, pretty good. Please make a podcast. I'm in two minds about what to do with a podcast. Right? Let me tell you what I've thought about doing. One, I could convert everything I do into a podcast, but I still don't think it all translates very well. I think for people that watch the stream that also like podcasts, then fair enough. They're probably happy to listen to a podcast. But I feel like if someone just saw, oh look, there's a FPL podcast I've never heard of, and they heard me ranting about internet and stuff, and because I'd have to heavily edit it basically, so I don't really want to do that. That's one of the reasons I don't do it right now. The other option is just to put the game week preview out as a podcast, because that's kind of like talking about everything, clear and concise way, no random thinking or talking or whatever. Or I tie together the team selection and the game week preview, so I've got a bit about my team, a bit about the game week in general. Or I just record a whole separate podcast, but I just don't know if I've got the time to do that. So I am thinking about what I can do podcast-wise. But to be honest, there's so many podcasts out there. Do people really need another one? There's so many good ones out there, you know? But it is on my mind. Yeah. Pod is great because we can listen without the YouTube app. But I know, I fully get that, but this is a YouTube channel, you know? You know what I'm saying? Some of your targeted videos would be good podcasts. What do you mean by targeted? Will I make content for Fantasy Draft? Nope. Can you really make much content out of Fantasy Draft apart from pre-season before the draft's done? It doesn't take very long, by the way, to convert a video to a podcast. But if you need to edit it or redo a whole nother one, that's obviously a different story. I feel like a podcast would be a bit easier for me, to be honest, because I don't have to worry about being on the camera and stuff like that. Would I do an FPL? To be honest, I feel like my game week preview podcast, my game week preview video would be the best thing to convert to a podcast and put it out once a week. Rather than converting all the streams and my team selection video and the watch list video, or I could just string them all together. But again, if I'm going to put out a podcast, I want it to be a good podcast. You know, I don't want it just to be a converted video that when a new person, like, it's all well and good for everyone that watches my stuff anyway and likes it. I've got to think about new people picking it up. I don't want them to listen and think, right, well, this guy's just converted a video. Do you know what I mean? Then it gets like down rated or whatever. Or I don't even know how podcasts work, to be honest. Don't really listen to them that much. Do I worry about being on camera? Not really. I do like you on the screen, though. I'm glad about that. I'm sure a lot of people don't. Anyway, we're really not talking about You see what I mean? We're not even talking about FPL at all. You may bring new viewers onto YouTube. Yeah, no, it's something I thought about, but I also feel like I've missed the boat a little bit. Really, if I was going to do a podcast, I should have got it out pre-season. It's just laziness, to be honest. Anyway, Bamford or Adams? For me, it's still Adams. Like, Bamford is overperforming quite a bit. Two shots, 2 goals. Job done. And the fixtures are not good for Leeds either for the next kind of 2 or 3. So, yeah, not interested in Bamford, to be honest. Che Adams, look, don't get me wrong, a bit frustrating he hasn't scored yet, but it's coming, surely. Where was that? I saw a question there I wanted to answer. Is this your team for this game? We can watch your points per game. I mean, the overall points are on the screen, so if you want to check it out, you can. I just listen your videos rather than watch sometimes. Yeah, no, I get that. There's plenty of people ask me for podcasts, but I just want to do it properly, really. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to just put out something half-assed. When will I use the wildcard? People keep asking me this. I don't know. I don't have a plan. Right? That's, my general plan for a wildcard is not to have a plan. If I get to like game week 5 and I'm still ticking along, I'll keep it. If I'm what I don't want to happen is not just it's not just about getting rid of a bunch of players you don't want anymore. It's also like trying to keep up at times. Sometimes you'll fall so far behind the curve on bringing players in. So like for next week, for example, I'm already thinking, could I do Shaw to Reece James? Could I do St. Maximin to Podence? But a lot of people have already done Podence this week. So if I get Podence next week and then there's a new bandwagon I want as well, then I'm waiting until the next week for them. And sometimes you just get behind. It's just quicker to wildcard, get them all in, get rid of some deadwood and just do it that way. So I don't really have an answer for wildcard. I'm just going to wing it for a bit longer. Nikolai, thanks very much. Robbo and James Rodriguez or Lamptey and Son. I think Robertson and James Rodriguez for me. Thoughts on possible looming of games being postponed? Honestly, games are. It's very unlikely games are going to be postponed for what's going on at the moment. In my opinion, and I'm not an authority on this at all, it's just an opinion. If games are going to get called off, they're all going to get called off. I think, because if a couple of players do it, the players are tested all the time. So even if someone gets it, they just retest all the players. If they're fine, they play. And even if there's like 4 or 5 main players out from a team, they have to, as far as I know, I've got a bit of a sore throat. As far as I know, they would just have to use youth players. There's no like stipulation where you missing X amount of players, you can just cancel it. It's just not how it's going to work. You don't answer. I answer plenty of stuff. I don't usually answer from people moaning that I don't answer though. Am I going to do the Twitter questions? I don't know what Twitter questions you mean. Or do people? Maybe people sent me questions from the tweet I put out. Yeah, I might look at that at some point. Where was that question I saw? This. Someone asked me a question. Said, "Can you let me know definitively? Because I don't like making a decision. Keep the wild card for the second hack. Oi, there's going to be no hacks around here. Can you show us your fan team? I can't because I've not got it set up. So, I mean, nah, not really. It's not as good as my FPL team, I don't think. But I'm doing all right. 138 points, I think. Thanks very much for that. Jesus and Podence or Jimenez and Foden. I actually think while Aguero is out, you got more chance of getting minutes from Jesus and Podence than Jimenez and Foden. But I think Jimenez is just such a set and forget. I'd probably prefer that one for the next few weeks. But I mean, going for an extra Man City player is not a bad option while Aguero's out, because you know how many goals they're going to score, and he will get chances. Tell me about Man United. What was wrong game week 2? Currently on Shaw and Bruno. I think if you've got Man United players and you're not wildcarding, you just keep them for Brighton, right? It could be a good fixture. We saw Matic and Wan-Bissaka get minutes in the cup. That will help them out once they're back into the first 11. Like, I don't expect Bruno, Pogba, and Van der Beek to play too often together unless we change formation, which I also don't see us happening or see happening. So I think you can just hold Man United players for this week and just see what happens. It was an awful game. The thing is, like, Man United didn't overperform or anything last year. They did okay. They didn't do anything out of this world. I think what a lot of people forgot maybe is that Bruno came into the team at the same time as we also, especially post-lockdown, had a great set of fixtures. So we looked even better than maybe we actually are. Not that Crystal Palace at home, Brighton away are tough fixtures, right? Don't get me wrong. But I think there's just a bit of expectation from Man United players, which is probably a step above what they can actually do. That's not to say that Rashford, Martial, Bruno won't score points over the next few weeks. But as I've said so many times now, they're way more expensive, right? So the expectation has to be higher, and I just don't know if they're gonna do that. For me, Rashford's still the one. Interesting quote from Fernandes. Basically, I say quote, I've not got it to hand, so I'm basically going to misquote it probably. But he said something like, Rashford's a strong penalty taker. If he's feeling confident he wants to take one, then he can. Like, Bruno Fernandes is not like against giving Rashford a penalty, which is super interesting, by the way, because if Bruno doesn't have as many penalties, then maybe that does make him a worse option. We'll have to wait and see. But I just thought it was funny. Everyone relying on Bruno penalties, and he says that. Am I playing Sky this year? I am not, because stupidly, like last year, I went to play it, and then the day before I realised I needed to get my account unsuspended. I don't even know why it was suspended in the first place. Didn't have time. And this year, I remembered to do that like 2 or 3 days before, and they literally verified my account and unsuspended. What's the opposite to suspended? Opened, unsuspended. I'm an idiot, like I said earlier. And so the season had already started, so I just couldn't be bothered. So next year, I'll play it. Ni hao, should I wildcard if I'm planning hits in the next game week? Depends how many hits, depends on which players. If you're planning like 8, 12, 16 point hits, then yeah, maybe. Again, like that's maybe a situation where you're going to be behind the curve for a little while. If you've only got to take like a -4 to catch up, that's not too bad. But you've got to look at every other player in your team as well to see who else you might want to bring in or you might want to take out. Because it's not just usually 3 or 4 players. It's usually like peripheral players on the bench or whatever you might be able to change too. And Nikan, Fernandes and more pay or Werner and Zaha? Probably Werner or Zaha, although Zaha's like the same price as Barnes, right? So I'd look at Barnes as well. Maybe not for this week, but for the next couple of weeks. Carlos, how's it going? Semedo's 5.5. I am on wildcard. Is Podence a risk? Podence? I mean, I don't think he's necessarily... I mean, he's slightly more of a risk. Because Semedo's going to play right wing back. Traore's going to go forward. It's Podence or Neto for that left spot. I think Podence is first choice. He's going to get more minutes than Neto. So I think he's still a good pick. I would have him if I was on a wildcard. Would you replace Werner if you were wildcarding? I spoke about this on the video today. I wouldn't want to. That's my answer. I would not want to wildcard Werner out today or this week on a wildcard. But that's what sucks about using the wildcard this week, because if he blanks again, you're going to want to get rid of him. He does give you an easy option to Jimenez or Jesus, so I'd probably still go for him on wildcard, I think. But I've seen some great wildcards without him. Would I pick up Semedo? He was a very attacking player for Barca. From what I've seen, he wasn't a very attacking player for Barcelona. Or granted, I've not seen them week in, week out. But the reason I like Semedo, it's not even because of him. It's because of the system he goes into. And you've got to feel like out of him or Marçal, who's going to be the more attacking? It's probably going to be the guy on the right. And Marçal's like, 31? We don't even know if he's going to be fit. I just quite like Semedo, to be honest. Yeah, in that system that Wolves play. Yeah, hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. We've hit 110,000. I think last week I was having a beer because we just hit 100,000. We've added another 10,000 this week. It's absolutely ridiculous. That 125k by the end of the season could happen. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Keep hitting that like button as well. Also, while I'm doing all the kind of shout out to everyone that's signed up on Patreon as well. So this is everybody There's currently a Patreon on patreon.com/Let's Talk FPL. If you want to sign up as well, there's a link in the description below. So there's a shout out to everyone that kind of signs up new, and obviously everyone gets on the wall every single stream and every single video. So thanks to everyone that has signed up. You'll get on the 4th wall. That's how many we've got at the moment. So quite a few in there. And there'll be another Q&A video tomorrow and any team reveals in the future and all that kind of stuff as well. Should I get Sice for a -4? Is he a rotation risk? I don't think he's really much of a rotation risk. I don't know if he's worth a -4 hit, though. Depends who you're taking out, of course, as always, but don't think he's worth a hit most weeks. You take Bolly over Semedo, I think he'll get a few goals this year. He could do. I definitely prefer the right wing-back, though, to Bolly, for me, for the same price. 200k by the end of the season, absolutely no chance. Honestly, I wish it could happen, but the amount of subscribers really slows down from here on out. You see it every single year. So 200k, not happening. Even FPL Tips doesn't have 200k yet, and he's the king of FPL YouTube. Thoughts on Jack Grealish? I've got him in my fan team squad. I like the fact they've bought a couple of more attacking players to play in front of him or around him. And Fulham's a great fixture, but then it's Liverpool, Leicester, Leeds. So for me, if you haven't already got him, you definitely don't buy him. I think the time to buy him was last week. He didn't even do anything. So it looks a good option for this week, but I wouldn't. I'd rather just see how him and Ollie Watkins just kind of start fitting in with Aston Villa a bit. The new guy, though, Traore, scored a really good goal. Go on Twitter if you haven't seen it. He scored a great goal today on his debut. Havertz contacted coronavirus from Golvid90. Yeah, it was a decent. Literally putting my chair into the green screen. Yeah, nice to get a hat trick. I'm sure he'll be full of confidence now. You haven't taken into consideration the Community Shield. I'm a Liverpool fan, and Arsenal were great defensively in that game. Did you know Arsenal's XG conceded in that game was over 2? It was over 2. That's quite high for one game. Granted, they didn't concede 2 or more, but you keep doing that. Eventually, teams put a few goals past you. No, I really don't know what to make of Arsenal. I'm looking at the numbers a lot, but I fully appreciate a lot of people think they've got better. So I'm not ignoring that. And also in the back of my head, I'm thinking they must have got better as well. And they've made new signings and stuff like that as well. And I do think Arteta's got on playing a different way. And we've seen it against City and Liverpool. They're way more confident playing out from the back, keeping possession and stuff like that. And obviously getting past the press. So yeah, I'm not saying that Arteta's made no difference, but I still think it's a fairly decent fixture for Salah at home, basically. I fully appreciate most people are not going to agree. They're going to go De Bruyne or Werner, and that's absolutely fine. That's up to you. But as it stands, I'm on Salah. Monday night, last game of the week. Everyone's crying on Monday because their captains are blanked. Boom, up steps Salah for an assist. 5 points. Happy days. Should you wildcard? Should you wildcard is such a broad question. The answer is basically yes or no. Kevin, how's it going? Son or Burke, or Havertz and Podence? If you have to play them every week, Havertz and Podence by a mile, I would say. You don't want to play... As it stands right now, you don't want to play Burke week in, week out. If he plays week in, week out for Sheffield United in a striker position, maybe you could. But right now, it just seems a little bit too good to be true. The last time Arsenal played each top 4 side, they won. But how many goals did they concede? Maybe they didn't concede that many. I'm not really trying to convince anyone to go for it. If you don't think Salah's a good option, don't go for him. Simple as that. Would I pick up Martinez in goal if I wildcarded? If I was wildcarding this week, yes, I would go for Martinez. Am I 100% confident he is now the best 4.5 million goalkeeper? No. We literally seen one game where he saved a penalty, and another day that goes in, he blanks, people don't care about him. We don't know how good defensively Villa are. Yes, they were very good post-lockdown, but Calvert-Lewin couldn't score a goal post-lockdown. He scored 4 in 2. So are Aston Villa now this amazing defensive team? We just don't know yet. So I'm not against Martinez, and I probably would put him in a wild card. But it's way too early to say that he is now the number one 4.5 million keeper. I mean, McCarthy's, don't get me wrong, has done badly. But Burnley away, West Brom at home, could he get a clean sheet or two in them? I mean, it's unlikely, I guess, but it could happen. And suddenly we're not looking so bad. William, how's it going? Calvert-Lewin, Son, Taylor, or Richarlison, Mason Greenwood, Hammett. Taylor, which Taylor's that? Oh, Reece James. Hang on a second. Could you not just have Calvert-Lewin, Mason Greenwood, and James? Yeah? I think I prefer... I mean, you could go for a Richarlison, I guess, but I still think, even if you don't need the money right now, you could just go Calvert-Lewin and save the money. And definitely Reece James. So I'd maybe try and move things about. I mean, Son is such a better option than Mason Greenwood. But I really like Reece James and Calvert-Lewin. I guess see if you can make that work. See if you can find the extra 0.6 to get James in the first one. Nikolai, Barnes or Ings this week? Harvey Barnes? I mean, it's got to be Ings, right? I know he's playing Burnley away. Is it Harvey Barnes? I guess so. It's not going to be Ashley Barnes, right? Why don't you talk about Wolves? All I've done is talk about... I feel like all I've done... Not today, but I've talked about Wolves so much. Wolves fixtures are good. I think you could easily, if you're wildcard, and go for 3 if you can fit them in. Whether that's Podence or Jimenez plus 2 defenders, or Podence, Jimenez plus 1 defender. What I would say is I've put together a few drafts, and at no point have I really actually gone for double Wolves defence. Not because I think it's bad, because I just really like Reece James and I want a Liverpool defender. So unless you're playing 4 at the back, it's actually quite hard to fit in 2 Wolves defenders without giving up Reece James. George, how's it going? Need to get Sir Maximin and Egan out, and I want Werner and Sterling in, which means a 12-point hit. Again, without knowing the other players, it's difficult. That doesn't sound worth it to me necessarily. Once you're taking a 12-point hit, I would maybe consider wildcarding and figuring out how many other players you are happy to get rid of as well. I'm not saying hit the button, but give strong consideration not only to who you're taking out and who you get to bring in, but also who else you could really take out. Like, who's just in your team that you'd like to see gone soon. But a minus 12 at this stage of the season does sound like quite a lot, won't lie. Worth taking a hit to play Podence over Mitchell. Yeah, and that's a tough one because... I mean, it probably is best just to play Mitchell, although he's playing Everton. I'm really hoping Everton score. I don't think you need to take the hit there, no. But at the same time, I'm not 100% sure Mitchell will get you a clean sheet, but I think maybe reassess for next week. Reece James or Luca Dean, I don't need the 1 million extra. You always need the 1 million extra. I've got Luca Dean, and I think he's good for the next few fixtures. But if I was wildcard, I'd probably just put Reece James on. Why are people sleeping on Harvey Barnes? Harvey Barnes is a legend. We love him on this channel. But yeah, I have not been talked about hugely. I did consider him very, very early on in my preseason drafts, but he was never really in any of the serious ones. But yeah, after City, two great fixtures. Just don't need him for this week now, do you? He can be a little bit frustrating to own at times because he gets so many chances. A bit like Richarlison, gets so many chances, but not necessarily the best finisher. Is 3-5-2 a bad formation to do? Absolutely not. Greg Lee, 2 Chelsea mids and Werner, or 1 defender, 1 mid and Werner. Probably the defender midfielder Werner, I think. I mean, 2 Chelsea mids could be good. Like right now, I definitely wouldn't have 2 Chelsea mids. And in the future, Pulisic's the one I want. Could Havertz and Ziyech be included there? At some point, maybe. But right now, I'd probably go the defender, midfielder and forward route. Akshay, how's it going? Zaha / Barnes, Robbo and Mitro. Zaha, or I guess that's Zaha or Barnes. I still prefer Barnes. Robbo, Mitro, Trent and Helder Costa. Robbo and Mitrovic. Oh, or Helder Costa and Chris Wood. Wait, Robbo, Mitrovic or Trent, Helder Costa and Chris Wood. Oh, sorry. It's 2 combos, right? So Zaha or Barnes. So Barnes, Robertson and Mitrovic, or Trent, Helder Costa and Chris Wood. Ooh, hang on. Could you not go... I don't know how much Helder Costa is. He's not going to be that expensive though, is he? 6.5. So you say 0.5 there. You say 0.5 there. That's $1 million. I think I prefer the first one. I don't necessarily like going about Trent Alexander-Arnold, but those combos, I think I prefer the first one. FPL DCG, how is it going? Mitchell could keep his spot. Hodgson hinting it today. Yeah, I don't expect Van Aanholt to go into midfield, because if they play like a 4-3-3, then at some point surely Batshuayi or someone like that is going to play through the middle, and then you've got Eze on the right, Zaha on the left. Unless Zaha keeps playing up front and Van Aanholt goes left, but I'm just not seeing it. So I think it's probably wishful thinking that Mitchell keeps his place, but I definitely would still have him on a wildcard, I think. He did make Hodgson was very positive about him for sure. Player who was 8th last season told me that he chooses captain purely based on fixtures. So is Kane worth captain this game? I mean, surely if you're definitely picking on fixtures, then surely it's Werner, right? I mean, Newcastle is a good fixture, so Kane is not a bad captain. Son, 1 goal, 2 assists in the Europa League game so far. He is great. I love Son. And obviously Bale's coming at 0.5 more. So right now it's got to be Son, surely. Do. Should change the music really. I don't even know if you can hear it. Risk Justin against City or put in Vinagre. I would wait to see whether Vinagre's fit, but yeah, I'd definitely play him ahead of Justin this week if he's fit. Do I have a private league? I have an open public league. The link is in the description. The code is on the screen. You're welcome to join that. I don't have any other leagues at the moment. Any reasons not to captain Werner? It's just the West Brom game looks too good not to capitalise on. And Joshua Ball said fixture over form for captaincy choices. Yeah. I think the guy that got the most captaincy points last year also said fixture. So yeah, if you want to target fixture, West Brom is good. The only thing, like Salah's fixtures again, maybe not too bad. And De Bruyne's without Ndidi is probably not too bad either. But like, on paper, Werner has the best fixture. Right? Wouldn't disagree with that. You mentioned the music made me hear it. Good stuff. I mean, it's not supposed to be like pounding or anything like that. Foden or Barnes on a wild card. The thing with Foden, right? I would get Barnes. I just would. I know I would. Foden could be a really good option, but I am not one of those managers that likes my players to be rotation worries. Right? In the back end of last season, I did go for Mahrez. It's a little bit of a different situation because Man City's fixtures were so good, and Mahrez had so many minutes, but there's just no guarantee he plays every week. He could come off the bench and get something. Of course he could. But he could also come on for a one-pointer. And I think that's something that maybe I've not overlooked but not talked about enough is it's all well and good saying something like, I'll get Foden because my bench is good. But there's every chance he just comes on for a one-pointer as well. So it's not a case of he's either going to play or he's going to completely be benched for 90 minutes. So, and I'm not saying he's a bad option either, but it's just not my kind of player. Because if he does start every other game, let's say he did start every other game, that's 19 starts for the season. Yeah, okay, it's for Man City, but I feel like there's potential to do better. But again, not saying he's a bad option. He will 100% get more minutes than he did last year. 100%. Honestly, Bamford I'm not interested in at all. I couldn't be any less interested in Bamford, to be completely honest with you. So not only do Leeds have Sheffield United away, Man City at home, Wolves at home, next 3. Like I said earlier, he's had 2 shots, 2 goals. You just don't keep that up. Even Bielsa's not too happy with the amount of chance they created. Oh, Connor, you can't be stalking me like that. Should I pick Van Dijk? You could do. I told you last week, put Martinez in and get ahead of the curve. You didn't listen. I hate comments like that. As if I would do a goalkeeper transfer on the off chance they get a penalty save. Do you know what I mean? John Lundstrom puts that away. Would you still tell me I should have put in Martinez? Instead of listening to you about Martinez, I put in James Rodriguez. Job done. 12 points. Happy days. William, how's it going? Reece James and Zaha or Charlie Taylor and James? I'm just not a fan of Zaha. I know people are liking him right now. I really do prefer Reece James by a long way to Taylor though. So probably Reece James and Zaha. But I'd want to try and get that extra money. I know it's difficult. I've put together a bunch of drafts today. You don't know the pain of being a Southampton fan year after year. I do not know that. My dad put Adams in his team. What do you think? Che Adams. Honestly, right? Obviously, I want all my players to score, right? I want them all to get returns this week because otherwise it'd be absolutely... obviously, I'll have a bad score otherwise. So I do want all... Oh, hang on. Click or Barnes this week? Probably Click. Although, I don't know. Probably Click just about. But I'm not... I don't know. Click just it doesn't do anything for me. I just don't like the idea of owning him at all. You're relying on penalties. Could happen, I guess. Barnes is the more interesting pick, but he's playing Man City, which is tough. Probably Click just about, but I think it's the boring play. FPL lad, thanks very much. Buy yourself a pint, I will. The pubs are reopened now, so maybe I'll head down at some point and get one. Thanks very much. Go and check out FPL lad's channel. I think you'll like it. Definitely different intros to how I do it. You could say mine are like his are like Maverick. Mine are just boring. Joe Pickford, is going without Son on a wildcard a bad idea? No. I mean, he's a good option, but he's not essential. Unless he scores 4 goals every week, and then he definitely would be. I feel like I was talking about something else before they come in. I missed it now. Oh, yeah. About players who are going to score in your team. Obviously, I want all my players to score. Right? Let me just reiterate that for the 10th time. But 2 players that I really want to score this week. Che Adams. Please, Che Adams. We deserve a goal from you. Don't know how you haven't scored. And Werner as well. Because a lot of hype around him. And I don't want to hear he was never a good option. He came from a different league. Because it's 45 minutes, 10 men versus Liverpool. And the first game, okay, that was a bit rubbish. So I really want to see Werner and Che Adams score this week. Dan, thanks very much. What do I think about Pratt as a differential? Don't like him. There's definitely better ways to spend your money, I think. I've got to be honest, I don't even know his price, so let me have a quick look. 5.5. I mean, you're just going Pedence for 5.6, aren't you? Views on Decore. Pedence does feel like one of those ones that could just go real wrong because everyone's going for him. But any £5.5 million midfielder, I just prefer Pedence for an extra 0.1, I think. Decore could be okay, but right now it feels like there's a lot of Everton players you could go for. So why would you lock yourself into Decore? Will be my thinking. Semedo over Sice. I don't know if I would necessarily do that. 0.5 million is still very big at this stage of the season. So I like the idea of Semedo, and he could be worth more than Sice, but we don't know yet. So on a wild card, I'd probably still be, or even a transfer, I'd maybe still be looking at Sice and seeing what you can do with that 0.5. If you want to take a punt, obviously, yeah, go for Semedo. He's playing in the same team, going to get the same clean sheets. Hopefully, he'll go forward and get more attacking returns. We don't know. We also don't know if he's going to start this weekend either. So keep an eye on the press conferences and stuff. Let's see if we've got anything else we've not already talked about. The lap starts for City and Jesus is not on the bench. Yeah, I think Jesus will be fine. Is Mendy a good pick? He's probably going to be the best £5 million goalkeeper now, but you do block yourself from outfield players for Chelsea, that's all. Calvert-Lewin getting another price rise tonight, really? Amazing. What do I think about wildcard now? Is it too soon? Yeah, you can't give a... I've talked about wildcard so much, and for the first few weeks we will talk about them a lot. You can't give a blanket answer to is it a good idea or a bad idea to wildcard, because I have seen some teams where I think, yeah, I would have probably wildcarded that too. So it's definitely not too early for some people, but it doesn't mean everyone has to do it. I don't feel like my team needs it. Some people might look at that team and think, well, you're playing 4 at the back. They've just scored 44 goals. Not a good time to have 4 defenders. Che Adams hasn't done anything, etc., etc. So maximum you could get Podence in. And you could do all that with a wild card, but I personally don't. I'm not feeling the love for it. For me, for my team anyway. Squad value is like 101 million, I think. 100.1 million, and I got 0.5 in the bank. It's like 100.6 altogether. Wan-Bissaka didn't play. I just don't think he was fully fit, but he's played in the Cup, so hopefully he'll be back at the weekend. We'll have to see. Yeah, done at 4 million for Burnley. Maybe a good idea, but let's wait until the press conference to see how long Tarkowski and Mia are out. I don't think we've had any news about their length of their injuries. What do I think about Townsend? Could he be a big differential? Probably not. Probably not. De Bruyne, James for... Is that like James Rodriguez for Aubameyang and St. Maximin? Absolutely. Oh, you already done it. Yeah, absolutely. Great moves. You forgot the stream. No worries. You can go back and watch it from the start. It's the beauty of these streams. Ings is a goal machine, but why did you choose Adams? Because Ings is 2.5 million more. It's not that simple, you know. Dan, thanks very much again. I'm guessing you're trying to ask a question, Dan. I think you have to do at least £2 or more to put a question. I'll try and keep a lookout. Oh, maybe not. I'll try and keep a lookout for it though. Remember last season, so many bandwagons that ended very quickly. Pookie, etc. This season will be the same. Yeah, it could be Calvert-Lewin and James Rodriguez. Not ruling it out by any stretch. I just feel like Ancelotti, a bit different to... I can't remember the manager's name in Norwich. Farker, right? Farker. Watch how I say that. I was to get demonetised. Do I rate 6 million? Watkins at 6 million. I think he could be a good option at 6 million, but I don't rate him yet. I think players at that kind of price for that kind of team from like the Championship, like it's always good to get on players early, but that's not the kind of player you necessarily need to rush out and buy, right? Evertonian, thanks very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Honestly, the support in pre-season has been crazy. I did think we could get to 100k and stuff by the end of the season, but to get to it now already and be 10,000 past it is ridiculous. So much support on the videos, all the likes, they do generally help. I know it's like such a cliche thing for a YouTuber or someone that makes YouTube videos to sit here and say subscribing really helps. Hitting that like button helps, but it does help. It really does help. So if you hit the like button on every video, if you enjoy it, of course, you might hate it, in which case hit the dislike button. Yeah. So thanks, basically, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Why not? Jimenez, Calvert-Lewin, or Jesus? I still think Calvert-Lewin is great value for money. It's not an easy question to answer. I think Calvert-Lewin is still great value for money. Jimenez is going to be great over the next 5 fixtures. And Jesus is good until Aguero gets back. The only thing with Jesus is how quickly will Aguero be back? I don't know. It just feels like in a couple of weeks we might say, oh, actually, he's ahead of schedule. Here he is. So you've basically got to transfer down the line. But in the meantime, Jesus could get you a bunch of points. I still think Calvert-Lewin is one to really look at. Don't write him off just yet. I mean, I don't think anyone's writing him off after 4 goals, but you know what I'm saying. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I don't know if I said that at all tonight. Probably did. If you want to check me out on Patreon, if you want to support the channel a little bit more, let's see where we can take this thing, make it even bigger and better as we go along. There's a link in the description, patreon.com/Let's Talk FPL. There'll be a Q&A video up tomorrow. Any last minute changes I'll put up on Patreon as well. Very unlikely to happen, to be completely honest, this week. But next week, who knows? And yeah, thanks for watching. I have one more video out tomorrow. So I'm going to do another rating your wildcards video. People seem to like them. So I'm going to do one of those. And then I'm going to do something else. A deadline stream on Saturday. Around 10 past 10. So make sure you check that out. I'll also be doing Breakfast Club on Fantasy Football Scout at 9:30. And obviously team news as well tomorrow at 2:30 in the afternoon. People hitting the dislike button. Yeah, let's get it to 5. Let's get 500 dislikes and 5 million likes. Let's just go for it. Thanks very much, everyone. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. I will catch you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. Oh no, someone's just put in the super chat just before we go. Big Dave, how's it going, Big Dave? Big high, 32 points, 4.3 million rank. Not ideal, but great thing about that kind of rank, green arrows, green arrows, green arrows every single week. Right, I'm off. Catch you later. Thanks very much for watching.